welcome to my channel. If you are new, my name is Rachel Amma, and for this week's recipe, I wanted to do some more Caribbean-inspired food. You guys keep asking for more, so this week I'm here to share another Caribbean feast. So please give this video a thumbs up if you're excited for the Caribbean feast. Don't forget to subscribe because I'm here every week with new videos to share with you. So, the feast. First things first, we're going to start off with brown stew. I love brown stew, so we're going to make a vegan version with some black beans and some fresh jackfruit. It comes together, it hits that slightly sweet and spicy heat from a Scotch bonnet stew. It's so delicious and hearty. To go with it, I've got some coconut rice, some coleslaw with no vegan mayo. We're just going to season it up with some really nice ingredients. As well as that, I've got a pineapple salsa, which is nice and spicy and sweet, and tostones, patacones. You guys let me know in the comments what you prefer to call them. Patacones, tostones, using green plantain, platanos. So, I hope you guys enjoy this video and all the recipes. Let's get into it. So I'm starting off with some black beans. These are dried. You get such better value for money when you buy them dried. So I'm just gonna soak them. You need to soak them for at least 6 hours. I'm just gonna do it overnight because it's easier to do it the night before. Cover it with water, pop it in the fridge with a lid on and just leave it. So the ingredients I've got some thyme, spring onions, fresh tomatoes, fresh peppers, ginger, Scotch bonnet, lime. I've got some miso paste, some onions, jackfruit, and I've also got some garlic granules, only because I didn't have fresh, and some smoked paprika and allspice. Now that the black beans have soaked overnight, I'm just gonna drain them. And as you can see, this is them drained. They're still hard, so now we need to cook them. So I'm just gonna add these straight into a pot, and I'm gonna add in some water, and you just wanna have about 3 centimeters or 4 centimeters of water above the line of black beans. To add some extra flavoring, I'm also going to add in a vegetable stock, and you need to boil that for about an hour until they start to soften up. So now I'm going to prep the rest of the recipe. So I'm going to finely dice some red onions as well as some spring onions or green onions, and we're going to saute these in a pan with some oil, or don't use oil if you don't want to cook with oil, as I always say. Then I'm going to finely dice up my red peppers and my green peppers. And you just want to get them nice and small. So now that the onions have softened up and they've sauteed down, we're going to add the peppers straight into the mix as well. Get them in there, and I love the colours, it's such a colourful dish. And you want to saute these and start breaking them down. Then I'm going to grate in some ginger. You can completely slice the ginger, mince the ginger, however you like to add your ginger. I used a really big amount of ginger. As you guys know, I love ginger. Mix that in there. And if you have fresh garlic, add a bunch. I just didn't have any fresh. And now we're gonna add in the smoked paprika, garlic granules, and allspice. These are our seasonings, and we wanna give this a nice mix and a nice saute, and we really want the flavors to start combining with the onions and the peppers. Now this is a fresh jackfruit. It's slightly more ripe than I'd want, but that's all I could get. So I'm just breaking it apart, and you just wanna make sure you get rid of the pips. You get such better value for money when you buy jackfruit fresh if it's near you. I highly recommend it, and I actually prefer the flavor than tin jackfruit. And then we're gonna add it straight in and start sauteing it. So with the fresh jackfruit, it needs to cook for about an hour for it to loosen up. Then I've got some fresh tomatoes. You can also use tin tomatoes, but I wanted to use fresh for this recipe. And as you can see, the jackfruit is starting to break down. We've only been cooking it for about 10 minutes at this point. And the black beans are starting to soften up, which is what we want. Then we're gonna add our fresh tomatoes. I think I used 6 to 8 tomatoes, roughly. You wanna get ripe ones that are full of flavor, nice and juicy. We're gonna mix that in with the black beans, and this is when the tomatoes start to break down and loosen up. Now we're gonna add in our jackfruit mixture, and you wanna get everything in there, all the juices from all the seasonings. We don't wanna miss anything out. We wanna get it all in that pot. If you need to add a little bit of water to help loosen it from the pan to get it in the pot, you can do that as well. You wanna mix it all together, and if you need to add a little bit more water, you can at this point as well. I've got some fresh thyme, some sea salt, and I've also added a Scotch bonnet as well to give it some nice heat. And lastly, I'm adding in a bit of miso paste. This will just help bring some more savory flavors to the dish. Because the jackfruit was riper than I wanted, I'm not gonna add any maple syrup. And once it's sat to cook, you get this really rich, hearty, delicious vegan brown stew. It's so good. And as you can see, the Scotch bonnet is in there too, adding some nice fiery heat to the dish. Now I'm gonna make a nice pineapple chili salsa, which is gonna complement everything. So I've got some really ripe pineapples, lime, red onions, coriander, and some chili, keeping it really simple and fresh. So first things first, we wanna cut our pineapples. So I'm just gonna cut the head off. Do we call it the head? It's a bit of a weird name to call it. I'm gonna cut the top off. Then we're gonna slice down the sides to get rid of the skin. And I want these really small and fine. So we're gonna slice it up as fine as possible. And then we're just gonna dice them off into tiny little chunks, just like this. Because we're turning it into a salsa, it just kind of goes together well when it's nice and small. Then I'm adding the ripe pineapples to a bowl. And I'm gonna use about 1/4 of a red onion. Again, we're gonna really finely slice it because you don't wanna taste big chunks of onion. You want kind of little subtle pieces. And then I'm also gonna finely slice up red chili. Now you could use just 1/4 of a chili if you don't like too much spice. If you love spice, use the whole thing. It really depends on how hot you like your food. But you just wanna finely chop it up. And we're gonna add the red onions as well as the chili straight into the bowl with the pineapples. And then I'm squeezing in a good half of a lime. And this is gonna help bring the flavors together, as well as a pinch of salt and a whole bunch of coriander, AKA cilantro. Get it all in there and give it a really good mix. And you can taste it and see if you want to add a little bit more lime juice, a bit more salt. If you want it more fiery, you can add some more chilies. And it's just a really simple, fresh pineapple salsa. Now I'm going to use some green plantains to make some patacones, tostones. You guys tell me, do you call them patacones or tostones? When I'm in South America, I absolutely love them. We're just going to chop them up into chunks and we're going to fry them. Now you really want to use green plantain. These ones weren't actually as green as I wanted, but I couldn't get. The guy in the store, he said he hasn't got any because it's so hot in the UK right now that they're just going off too quickly, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, here we are. First things first is we are going to fry them for the first time just to get that tiny golden crisp on the outside. And I'm just turning them around instead of deep frying them. I'm just using like 1 centimeter to 2 centimeters of oil. Then we're gonna take them out of the pot, out of the oil, and look at them, they're looking fantastic. Because we're using green plantain, it's not soft, it's not sweet, it's quite starchy, it's really hearty, and they've got a nice crisp outer layer. And you wanna use anything that has a flat surface to now flatten them. And you really wanna squash them down. I've done like mini ones here. So once you flatten them all out, you're then gonna refry them just for a couple of minutes. I do not recommend using your hands for this, just putting it out there. Then once you take them out, you wanna sprinkle them with some salt and you're done. Now I'm gonna make a really quick coleslaw with no mayonnaise or vegan mayonnaise. So I've got some cabbage, carrots, onion, mustard seeds, and we're just gonna finely slice it all up. Finely slice up the cabbage, get it nice and small, and then we're gonna grate in some carrots and finely slice an onion. And I'm only gonna use about 1/2 of an onion. Then I'm gonna make a little marinade. I'm gonna use some extra virgin olive oil, a really nice high quality one that tastes good. Then I'm gonna add in my mustard seeds, some salt, some maple syrup, and finally some white wine vinegar. And you could use apple cider vinegar if you prefer. And it just creates a really nice, sweet, vinegary dressing for the cabbage. And it's really delicious and really simple. So we're just gonna mix that in there, start mixing it all together. It's really simple and delicious. And then finally, I'm gonna make some coconut rice. So the first things first, I'm gonna add some spring onions to a pan and saute these. Then I'm gonna wash some rice. I'm only showing you this step because once I didn't show the step and someone accused me of not washing my rice, and I do wash my rice. I was kind of offended that someone assumed I didn't, to be completely honest. Anyway, washing some rice, get the water nice and clear. And now that the onions are ready, we're now gonna mix in some coconut milk. So with rice, you just want to use double the amount of liquid to rice. For example, if you've got 250 grams of rice, you want to use 500 milliliters of liquid. So that's what we're doing here. Now I'm going to mix that all together. We've got coconut milk and water. I just refilled the coconut tin with water, which is why it's a bit cloudy. Add in some salt. I've also added some garlic granules. Bring it to a boil, pop the lid on and let it cook. and it's done in like 10 minutes. And then you've got some coconut rice, some really easy coleslaw. We've got our nice black bean brown stew, some patacones, tostones, and our salsa. And I've put it all together on this plate. And when I tell you, absolutely delicious. I also added some avocado, topped with some coriander. Yeah, colorful and delicious. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed the recipes. I have demolished that food. When I say some of the most, my favorite food is Caribbean food. So anytime I make Caribbean recipes, it's my favorite food to make. Let me know in the comments if you make it. Share with me on Instagram, hit me up because I love seeing what you guys are doing. If you want more of my recipes, I've got over 100 recipes in my cookbook, Rachel Ammer's Vegan Eats. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy the recipes, and subscribe because I'm here every week with new videos. Thank you guys for watching. Really hope you enjoyed the recipes. Till next time. Bye.